What is up, people? Welcome back to the channel. Season 5 of Thomas & Friends is arguably the best to come out of the show itself, and it does the bare basics of every other great season. The exclusive things that make it the famous Season 5 make it all the more grandiose, in a sense. So let's get started with this unique installment on Let's Talk Thomas. Season 5 is definitely one for the history books. It was the first Thomas & Friends season to adapt zero of the Railway series stories, and while it has some good episodes and some great songs, we're here today to talk about what truly makes Season 5 one that stands out amongst the rest. So, let's proceed. You want to talk ambition in the classic series, you talk Season 5. Now, of course, Thomas & Friends has never been afraid to ride the line of ambition, but it takes its first big leap over the line in Season 5. Think about this episode for a minute. In its simplest form, it's an engine riding the waves on a severed piece of track awaiting its total demise. However, the reason it works so well is because it's treated in a very serious manner. The music and the visuals are all dynamic and incredibly noteworthy, and the episode is overall drawn in a great direction. Let's be honest here. Ambition doesn't always work in this show, and I'm not even picking on new series and up. Pre-Season 5 proves this too. Remember this episode? Yeah, I don't like it that much. The amount of ambition put into Season 5 was incredibly experimental. Audrey always had this very logical and straightforward, thoroughly thought out vision for his franchise. And that might as well be the exact opposite of ambition. And considering how well Seasons 1 to 4 went down, on paper this doesn't exactly seem like the best situation. So how does this seemingly garbage scenario morph into a phenomenal turn of events? Well, in short, it's the tone. The most ambitious episodes of Season 5 have a more of a serious and intense tone. Imagine if Busy Going Backwards had the music and tone of a Season 1 episode. Don't get me wrong, it'd make for a fine episode, but it wouldn't have that level of urgency that carries through in its original form. In a way, the tone keeps the ambitious culture of some Season 5 episodes in check, making sure things like this are shown in such a dynamic light that they seem more urgent than they're really painted out to be. Example, Cranky falling over. I mean, yeah, it's cool, but add that rain, music, dynamic lighting, and crispy camera work, and now, there's an epic crash. Adding ambitious ideas to a show of this fashion could have turned out a lot worse than it did. But due to a work of beautiful cinematography and an endless list of underlying tones, it makes its mark as one of the best moves in Thomas & Friends cinematic history. Yeah, okay, this motherfucker. I can already see the comments. Darren, tut. What in the absolute McSheevberry makes Cranky so significant? And some of you people might think it's just cause he's that good of a character. But you're wrong. Now obviously, I like Cranky. Personally, I think he's Season 5's best newbie character. But the fact that he's a great impactful character isn't why he's on the list. Hell, Season 4 brought 7 impactful characters of a different gauge. Season 2 and 3 also brought on some great characters. Season 1 introduced the main character, you see what I'm saying. The point is, great characters with strong impact was nothing new to the show. But what I want to point out is a lot more significant. Cranky the Crane was the first, and for 11 years, the only, fully stationary character in the whole of the show. This man could go legit nowhere. It makes you wonder how many seasons worth of stories Wilbert would have written before writing a commonly reoccurring character like that. Looking at his illustrations, probably a good bit. Railway series illustrations are very extravagant, including a multitude of locations and upwards to just one story. It's very clear that Wilbert wasn't one to have his characters stay in one place. So having a character in which, if they were given their own episode, would mainly take place in one solitary location, not really in Wilbert's vein. This is the main reason Cranky episodes are so far in between, as an episode with him as the protagonist would mainly take place at the docks. He's similar to Edward in that vein. Not in the same context, but in the same idea that due to the way he's drawn, it's hard to make him the focal point of an episode. The way Cranky successfully made his way into this role of a grouchy, sarcastic, lovable character is honestly just smart writing. Unlike Edward, Cranky has always been able to pull his own weight in episodes that affect his character. Edward would fit into this section, but the episodes that impact him the most are usually about other characters. Old Iron is about James, Save from Scrap is about Trevor, the list goes on. These episodes about other characters have a massive impact on Edward's character. Cranky differs in that fact because he only really has one episode that truly affects his character. And that, my friends, is the masterpiece that is Cranky Bugs. This episode serves as Cranky's character arc. Gotta say, smart move making it one episode. Can you imagine if Cranky had a 3-episode arc? That would have been at least 3 out of a 26-episode season at one location. But anyways, this serves as an arc, cause throughout his debut, he's a dick. But at the end, when he finally gets his comeuppance, he gains a mutual respect for the engines who work around him, knowing full well what they're capable of if he decides to push them just a tad bit over the edge. And from that episode on, that's all he is. Cranky. Nothing more, nothing less. The fact that Mitten and Allcroft chose to write a stationary crane into this universe was a risk in and of itself. But establishing its full character in its debut, eesh, that's something that probably wouldn't work for any other character in the show. But works damn near perfect for this one. No, the video's not over. What comes with some of Season 5's most noteworthy episodes is a decent amount of afterthought. Now in this context, what I'm considering afterthought is a scenario where an episode leaves you thinking, maybe asking a few questions. Now, obviously, Thomas and Friends has done this before. Episodes that have you guessing what's gonna happen next are very common. But that's the thing, what's gonna happen next. While Season 5 does this too, they also introduce a style of episode where you wonder what happens within the context of the episode. Exhibit A, Rusty and the Boulder. The story is straightforward and very easy to grasp, but what the hell is up with Boulder? Was he really a sentient rock out to destroy Rusty, or was it all a coincidence and just a figment of Rusty's imagination, considering the only times we see his face is when he's right next to Rusty? They don't say. Exhibit B, Duncan gets spooked. Comparing this to Thomas's first spooky episode, there's a lack of afterthought. In Ghost Train, we, the audience, are almost instantly aware that Percy's ghost story is complete bullshit. In Duncan Gets Spooked, we're told nothing. Duncan thinks it's false, but then he sees God himself and doesn't know what to believe. This little element of the season alone makes it stand out. It allows its loyal fans to think, come to their own conclusion, to write their own ending. And while that doesn't always seem like the best thing, it's a way to progress the imaginations of fans of this expansive and world-building show. Okay, so I never usually say this until after a video's made, uploaded, you know, all that jazz. But I honestly wish I had more to say. But the bare fact is that I don't. But Darren, I can hear you asking, why don't you mention Thomas's character arc? Or, a matter of fact, why don't you mention how most of the main characters ultimately found their key character in Season 5? Well, because they would have happened eventually. Season 5 was just used as a placeholder. Things like character development and ultimate arc endings are things that make up a decent amount of Season 5. But the reason I don't choose them to include on the list is because they were ultimately expected. Like, okay, Thomas can't stay a cheeky little prick forever, and we gotta end George's ultimate arc while writing him off the show. Things like this were planned to happen, expected, in the ordinary. There's nothing really obscure or, for lack of better words, special about them. Everything I mentioned on the list was out of the ordinary, unexpected. The ambitious ideas and a mobile character and the heavy afterthought are all things that no other season before had done or were leading up to doing. That is why they're on the list. Season 5 is great, and I've been trying to write a decent script relating to it for some time now. One time I tried writing one on Rusty and the Boulder. Another time I tried writing one on the season itself. I even tried making the ambitious ideas of Season 5 while at Stock Thomas. I fully wrote out all those scripts, and now they're dreading the day I empty out my trash can. It's not the easiest thing to describe the spectacle that is Season 5 in bare words, but if anything, I'd say that makes it even more special. With the experimentation of the crazy ideas floating around our favorite group of protagonists, Season 5 is truly one of a kind. Hey, it happened. Finally happened. I wrote a Let's Talk Thomas relating to Season 5. Had to happen eventually. It's 3 in the morning right now, and I feel like I'm gonna drop dead, like, as soon as I, lay down or something. So I'm gonna finish editing this, and I'm gonna upload it when I wake up tomorrow. And, well, of course, I have nothing else to say, so I will see you when I decide to upload again.